Okay. Again, welcome. We will be going over some mass load and mass change procedures this morning. I added some extra ones that can be used throughout the year also. If you have any questions, please, you can go ahead and put that in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask any questions directly to me if you like. Again, happy Friday. Step closer to Christmas. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. I do have a PowerPoint that is out there on the ITC training underneath for today. I just added it this morning. So you can go ahead and look at that. If you want to look at that later also, you can do that it is out there. So I'll be kind of going back and forth with that PowerPoint and going directly to in my URL here, my test account. Okay. So the first thing this morning, we'll be going over some mass load information. Again, I have the URL out here for the public shared libraries. If you just control and click on that, it would take you directly to that link. And again, utilize this. We have it here for payroll and accounting for USPS and payroll. There's different for each part of the year for your payrolls, for your monthly, quarterly, fiscal year end, calendar end. Again, take a look at these. We have some mass load in here also, and also the .json reports to be loaded in under reports. So again, utilize these and take a look at that. If you were not were aware of these, those are out there for your use. Okay. The next thing I would be going over first is, again, I added the link right here. So again, if you just click and control click, it will take you directly to our documentation to exactly what I will be going over in all the different mass loads. So the first one I thought you could maybe use, again, can be any time of the year, maybe more at the fiscal year, but how can I update primary compensation? Again, you can use mass load for this. You will go ahead and create, you can bring in those employees by Go Compensation and using the grid, you can create a report for those employees. If you're doing multiple, and you can use like the label to pull in just those employees for fiscal year 24, like contracts to bring in just those employees and then create your report doing Excel. So many different ways that you can do that to bring in those employees. Once you do have those employees in, you got to remember to change your headers. And then these would be your headers. So you would need your code, your position number, the position employee number, type, and the primary compensation. So once you have that information entered in, then you can go ahead and enter in the true or false, probably be false because you're going to be, or true, excuse me, false to the old or true to the new one to change that contract to a primary compensation. And I do have one here that I already have loaded up. And then again, these are just your headers that you would need in that. And again, you would use your mass load under utilities. And then you would select, once you have that CSV saved to how you want it, and then go ahead and click the position or the, yes, excuse me, the compensation. There we go. And then load that in. As of right now, mass change is not available to do that, to change over if your districts do use the primary compensation. We do have a feedback issue out there. So if your districts are really interested in having that change to a mass change or added to a mass change procedure, go ahead and open up a ticket and tell them that we to up those requests for this, and we can do that for them. Okay. The next one is the, how do I update the supervisor number? So if they want to update the supervisor, again, they can use the mass load position. And again, all they would need is the employee number, the number, which is the position number, retirement code. This is only if you're adding a new position, and then the supervisor number for that employee. So again, I have an Excel here that kind of shows that how that needs to be set up. And I also included that in my sheet here. So again, then once you got that corrected and saved as CSV, then you would make sure you want to choose the file and then go to position to upload that into mass load. Again, as of right now, we don't have that available under mass change, but we do have a feedback issue that I listed here. And you can go ahead again, if this is something districts would rather do by mass change, please send us a ticket and we can up those requests for those. Okay. The next one would be using mass load. How do I inactivate old pay accounts and add new? So to remember on this one, you would need your old account ID and then adding a second line to update to a new one. So again, if you're changing inactive, how do I inactivate one account and adding a new account? Then again, you're going to have two lines for an employee. Again, here we have this pay account.json report that you can upload into reports that will help you get that ID that you need for that old pay account, which I have right here. And here is what we have in there. Now, again, if your district likes to see it separated, because if I bring it in, this is how that report shows right now. So when I use that report.json file for payroll counts, it's going to pull in like this. So if the district wants to see those codes separated, then again, like here in my PowerPoint, they're separated. They can adjust the expenditure account and they can add those separately if they want and remove this. So again, they can update this .json in any way they want to bring in the expenditure accounts of how they like to show it on the CSV file. And again, when they do this, there also is an option where you can just pull in one employee. If you're doing that for one employee, you can enter the employee number just to pull in that employee. If you leave it blank, it will pull in everybody. So again, you can get it down to exactly how they want and who they want to pull in by just adding more information from the properties. But that's a starter point for you. So once you do have that, then you would make sure that you need to update your headers to be exactly what I have here, the employee number, position number, again, your ID, and then you have all the function of the old account here. So then what you would want to do is change the old one to inactive and then add a new line for that employee, leave that next blank, the ID blank, because it's going to create a new one once you load that in, and then update it to the new account inactive. So again, if you're inactive one, you have to activate active another, the new one, and it has to equal 100% or you're going to get an error. So just a reminder on that. So then we also have, I just put out here to mass delete payroll counts. We do not have that yet. It was changed to next year. It was 2024, so I will get rid of that because it was, and I forgot to add that. So now they changed it to 2025.1 to work on that and to update where you can mass delete the payroll accounts. And this is the fee or the JIRA issue right here that is working on if you want to follow that. The next one is if you're just using mass load to update a payroll count. So again, you can use this pay account report.json file that you can use to update to get those IDs, because you need that ID so you can update that account. So again, once you pull in all those accounts that you want to update and you want to keep using that that option, that payroll account, but you just want to update the fund function or something's changed on it, this is how you would do that. So same procedure. We have to pull in the IDs of the employees, and then you need to go ahead and update those headers to include, to make sure they stay exactly here what I have listed. And again, you want to make sure that they are equal to 100%. This one has 0 in it, so make sure it's 100%. I just noticed that this morning, so I just put that, just make sure it's 100%. I can update that too. Okay. The mass change of payroll counts as of right now, that's not available yet, but we do have a feedback issue again out there. So if you want to go ahead and if this is something your districts would like to do rather than mass load, then we have the feedback issue and we can up those times requested for your districts. The mass load for, I just put this one out here because I had this one ticket one time. How to update payroll counts for a past payroll. A district had all the wrong payroll counts for a set of employees, and they were wondering if they could update that in their payroll file. And once that is, it's all history. So the only way you could update that at that time is go to the USPS side, and they would have to correct the count on that side. But going forward, then they just need to make sure that you're updating it into the payroll counts of those employees under payroll counts. And that way, once they're pulled into payroll, it's correct then. So I just kind of added that there. Once the payroll is ran and posted, it's in the history. So I just kind of wanted to put that in there. The next one is, how do I mass load if I'm changing an employee from daily to hourly for full-time employees? Easy way to do. Again, you would bring in those employees that you need to change over. Again, you can use the grid under leaves, or you can also create a report out of here and using the leaves grid and pulling in that information that you need. And once you have that created, then you would need to make sure that you have these headers. These are the ones you're going to want to be bringing in the spreadsheet. Employee number, the type, the leave unit, hours and day, accumulated per month, max leave amount, and reset value. So then what you would need to do is add what the hours per day is, change the leave unit, excuse me, to hourly, make sure that is hourly, because right now it would probably be daily when you would create that Excel spreadsheet. And then the hours and day, look to see what their hours and day are. And then that would need to be entered here, because that's very important that you have the hours and day entered, because what that system is going to do is going to convert any existing lead balances that we have. So it's going to update these balances right here. So you don't need to do anything to those, but you do manually have to update these other 3 fields. So the districts will have to do some work in taking the hours and day, and then whatever is on the accumulated per month, and times that, and then enter that in the spreadsheet. So again, they would just take these figures that they have here, these amounts, the balances, they don't have to worry about anything else they have to. And then enter those in here so you get what the hours should be. So again, the cum per month would be for your sick and vacation. The max leave would be for your sick and vacation, and then your personal would be your reset value. Usually personnel is the only one that has a reset value, so you want to make sure you have that included also. So once you do that, then here is the before, and then here is my after. So you can see all the information I had on my spreadsheet, updated these fields here for cum per month, max leave amount, and reset value. But my balances also updated with the times what the old was, the daily, and now it's the balance of hourly now. So pretty simple. Again, maybe a little work on this is just like just to add those three fields in there. But there is a way to do it using the mass load. And I do have a spreadsheet here. So this is kind of just the same what I took here from here, but so you have your headers according to what we have here. And again, you would use your mass load and the leaves for that. Okay. Okay. And for after. Okay. How about using Maslow to update payroll items, specific dates and max amounts? Again, this is probably used by districts a lot. And a lot of them use the specific date to do that. Again, you can use mass load for this, or you can use mass change, which we'll be going over here in a few slides. If they like to do the mass load, because again, maybe the max amount is not going to be the same for everybody. So using mass change may not be what they want to use in that specific thing. So if they have max amounts that are different for all their employees, then they're going to probably want to use mass load. It'd be a lot faster. So again, I have an employee number, configuration code, and then you need to add your max amount, specific date, and max type. And here are the headers that they would need when they were up, when they're going to use mass load for payroll items. And I do have, I don't know if I do or not. Nope, I don't. But I had that in there. So what you would do then is enter what the date would be, specific date, and the employee. Okay. So that would be how use some mass load procedures. And then now I'm going to change or go over to mass change. Some of them you can do as mass change or you can do as mass load. So it's kind of you either or of what the district uses. And a lot of times maybe some districts don't have that function to use mass change. And it's more of an ITC that uses it. So either way. Okay. Again, I added the link here for the mass change procedures. So if you and click on that. And here are some mass change procedures that we have out there. Just so you can utilize those, take a look at them. Maybe there's some out there that you've been looking for that we have out there. I just wanted to make sure I let you know. And also there are some report definitions in there too. So we kind of have it there too. So again, take a look. There might be some out there that you've been wanting to create, but didn't have time and they're already here. So the next thing is, how do I update total experience and authorized experience? So going to employee. And you need to find the employees that you're going to update. Again, at this time, I know we had a request to update, to add pay group and position to underneath more because a lot of people, they have their pay groups and certain certified, classified, so that it's easier to find those employees on the grid to do this. Excuse me. As of right now, we have a feedback issue 1255. Again, if this is something your districts really would want, please let us know in a ticket and we can up those requests so that way they can get in line for to be worked on. So to increment that by 1, I go to mass change. And I'll just bring in 1 employee here. And then I'm going to select my increment experience. So this is going to up my experience here by 1. So again, you just have to make sure you have your number of employees or the correct employees before you do that and submit. It worked. There we go. By 1. And again, in this spreadsheet here, and again, those are here on our, they're shared out there for everybody also. Where was that? Right here. So those are out here, but I also have them if you just click on that, double click, and then you can file and save as. And you can save that right on your computer and bring that into your mass change definitions. So either way, you can go to the report library where we have them all, or you can just double click here. The other one is how do I update the principal experience by 1? Again, you're pulling your principals that are need to be up by 1. And I have that here. Someone's just going to use my same employee I have. I'll clear my definition. And again, if you're not aware, if you're newer at the ITC, again, you can import these in by clicking on import once you save them. And like here is all my mass change definitions that I have saved on my laptop to use. And that's all you do is just click on those and bring those in. So here I'll just click on 1. Brings it in, and then you can save it. And now it's underneath my low definitions to use for future reference, for future use. It's always there. Okay. And then if you want to clear and you're working on multiple different things in the employee, you can clear the definition and bring that next one in that you need to work on. So we're going to go ahead and bring in my principal. And we increment that by 1, execute, and there's my 1. Okay, pretty simple. All right, the next one is mass change. How do I update salary schedule step and salary schedule column by 1? So again, this is probably at fiscal year. Under compensation, contract compensation, and I have it where you can click on this and save that. And I already have that in my contract compensation. So I'm going to go there. Again, you need to pull in those employees that you want to increase. Again, maybe you can do that by label for fiscal year 25. You can maybe do that by descriptions. Again, you under more, you can pull those in, how you're going to up those employees. So under contract compensation, I'm just going to bring in 1 employee here again. So here is my Judy. Here's my steps. So if I go under mass change, I already imported those in and saved them. So you do salary schedule, step and column, and here it's going to increment those by 1. So I'll go and execute, and there they change. Okay. Now My other one that I want to do is your ID. Now, if you up those, that's a little different. This is, you have to do this one a little different. And again, I added this in here for you to save. This one, you have to actually add the value. So if they're already at salary schedule ID 2, you need to enter 3. So it's the new value. It does not up by 1. You need to actually add what the new schedule is going to be, or the ID, excuse me. So right now he's at 1, but I want it to be 2. And now it changes. Now, I want just so you remind yourself that there is a way you can do all 3 at once, but I think it's this one. Yeah. I have it here, but you have to remember, I mean, if you're doing one employee, I mean, not everybody's probably gonna be on the same ID. Maybe they will be. If they are on the same ID, then you can do it this way. If they're on 3 and you have 20 employees are going to 4 in one step, then you can do that. You can just change that to 4 and submit it, and it updates it. But if not, then you have to do it separately. Okay. So hopefully that's not too confusing. But I did put that in the PowerPoint that this ID has to be the new value. Okay. The next one is the mass load for the salary schedule ID. You can do that if you want to use mass load for the salary schedule ID instead. If you're going to have many employees that are on different salary schedule and you want to do them all at one time, again, you can pull those employees in underneath the contract compensation in the grid, create an Excel spreadsheet, and then make sure you change your headers to what these are here, and then add the new salary schedule ID for each of your employees in the mass load. And then you would go to your mass load and then go to, again, your compensation and bring in that file. So again, you can do it either way through mass change or mass load. Couple of different options there. Okay. The next one is, how do I use mass change to change the employee rate or the employer rate? So employee rate, again, you go to your payroll item. Again, you can change the employee rate underneath the payroll item that you have up here already, because in this grid here, it shows the employee rate. But you cannot change the employer rate because it does not have the employer rate yet in this grid. So if you're doing just the employee, then you can just bring in the mass change, and I have it loaded here, employee rate or change rate. There's 2. We have an SSDT one that already is already there, and you can go ahead and enter your new value right here and do and change it that way. Or I have the one here that you can also do here. So we have both. But now if you're going to do the employer, then you have to kind of go to the ones that have an employee and employer rate on there. So you have to go to actually annuity or regular, and then create your mass change from here. And you can do both at the same time. I have one here that I have employee and employer if you're doing both. So again, it's up to you how you want to do that. Okay. I don't have the, let's clear that. I'll bring in, I don't have just the employer one. So let's just do that. Employee, employer. There we go. Employee rate, and I save it. So now I have that low definition under here if I want to do just separate employer rate changes for employees. But I have that option for both that you can create, rate and employer rate. Okay. Showed that. show that. Okay, so the next one is the mass change of the remaining max or the specific, which a lot of districts use, and I show that in MSO, but you can also do it in mass change. So I just wanted to remind the annual would be it will look at the current year. So whatever year you're in, it's going to calculate that through the whole year. And you don't need a date because you have annual selected in the drop down. The next one would be your fiscal, again, which would start over every July. So the system will calculate what was deducted or calculate during that fiscal year. And then the third is your specific date, which a lot of districts use. When is it starting? So again, you use your start date or your pay date of the first when you want that start amount to be deducted. So you go in to the payroll item. I'll just select this employee here. And then here is my employee. So I need to update this information because right now it's fiscal and the start date is 7/21 of 25. So now I want this to be specific and start at a start on a pay date in the future or starting coming up here shortly. So I will go ahead and just select this person. And 542. So then I would do my mass change and I already have, I want to clear my definitions. And I'm going to choose the specific max type, max amount, and date. So here, the system knows that I want to update this to specific date of the max type. Again, this is where you can change it to fiscal or annual too. So if you type in annual here or fiscal, it will update that then here to show here. But I want to do specific. Then you update how much your max amount is going to be for the year and what your new date will be. And then again, for the employee, if you have the employee portion or employer, then you go ahead and update that. And then I go ahead and execute. So here is my information that I'm updating. My one employee. Of course. Let's see what I did wrong here. Something like. It worked, yes. It never works when you want it to, right? What did it do wrong here?
Hey, Andrea, I think on your employer date, you accidentally removed the ending quote.
You're right. I did. Thank you. See? Thank you. Glad somebody has some eyes out there. All right. Let's try it again. There it goes. Thank you very much. See, just a little touch like that can screw up your mass change. So then now it's changed to what I need it to be. Okay. So again, they want to make sure they have, if they're using specific date here in this max amount, they've got to have that date in there because that is how the system narrows down how it's looking in the history to query what amounts to pull in and where it is and what their remaining amount is to be. So again, you want to make sure these two coincide together. Okay. The other one I have out there to use in my PowerPoint is, again, it's just another one, how to update the deduct max type specific date and add a specific date and max amount. There's another one out there I have that you can use. Again, what the district's preference to use, but I just have a couple options out there. So this one looks a little different because this one is the new value you don't enter here, but you enter it over here. So again, maybe this is something, if you allow your districts to do, or if there's something easier on your site to do, then this is just a different way of entering the information. Doing the same thing, specific date, but updating the information. So again, I'll update, and this is just employee. Again, if you want to do the employer, you just have to add the exact same fields, but and select under here as employer and bring these in. So again, you can do it all at one time if you like, or if a lot of them, maybe just have the max amount just for the employee portion again. So we'll go ahead and update that value for the employee, excuse me, and the date. So again, these should update these here. And they're updated for me. So just a different way of doing mass change, a couple of different procedures there. Clear definition. Okay, so the next one. Again, that was the one, I do have one out there for the max amount specific date. This is the one that you can do for employee and employer. It's max amount specific. So again, here is the one that you can do actually for the date, which is then you have to update it on this side. And then once you go over here, and execute it. So it's just a different way of doing all of them. And it executed them. So different ways of the employer and the employee. How do you add a stop date using mass change? Again, you can do that underneath any of the payroll items, or you can do it under the payroll item itself, because the stop date is listed on all on the grid in the main grid. So you just have to make sure you select which number or what employee that you're putting a stop date on. So I will do 550. I'm going to do Judy. Can't find Judy. Oh, Judy doesn't have a 550. Let's try Stacy. There we go. And then I bring in that employee and I select, which I already have it in here. And then you can enter the date of when it needs to stop. And then my date's added. Okay. All right, the next one is how do I add, this again would be fiscal year end. How do I update stars advance from true to false? Again, I have it here where you can save that in your mass change procedures. So we go to the contract compensation grid. And then you search for everybody that is true, which I don't have anybody, but you can find that. I don't know if I have that in here. No, if I don't, but it's under more. And I believe you can do that under all compensations too. So it's in either. You can do that. So now I have my SERS advanced, but I don't have anybody that is true. But if you did, you can use this mass change procedure and change it to false. And once you execute that, then you can submit it. And it changes everybody to false. Okay. The next one, how do I archive an employee? You can go to the employee grid. You select the employees that you're going to archive, and then you can click on mass change. So again, you go to the employee. Select the employees that need to be archived. Click on Mass Change. I already brought it in. Oh, actually, there is one. It's SSDT. So that's already there. Everybody should be able to see that one. But again, just to let you know, it is out there. So, but you got to remember to change yes or no to archive those employees. So it's got to be yes or no. So again, you have to go in there and change it to yes or no. Not gonna do that. So, all right. Let's see the next one. How do I archive a compensation? You go to compensation and you look for the employee that you want to archive or multiple employees and compensation archive. And it's already set to true. So all you have to do is execute and submit. Okay. That's all I have on the mass change and mass load procedures, kind of different ways you can do certain things and some for different types during the year. Does anybody have any questions or on these? It's probably a lot of them that you guys already use, but maybe hopefully it's just a refresher of what maybe is out there to use. And Jen had a message out there that um, if they accidentally did it twice, the mass change, she did a negative one in the mass change and it worked to mass change. So that's another great idea. If they accidentally hit the button twice and it maybe salary schedule went up by one, you can do the negative and reverse that out by one then. So again, great idea to utilize that mass change. Thank you, Jen. Is there any other questions out there? Okay, great. I hope it was very helpful to what maybe you to use for your districts. I think the next thing that we have is January 3rd, and that's the review of the December leases on 2020 for the last of December. So in January. If you have not signed up for that, please register here on our ITC training and registration. And I will let you guys go. And I hope you have a good Friday afternoon. And if I don't see you again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I appreciate it that you joined us today. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.